This is the first video for 1.3. We're going to start off by writing a linear equation from a graph. If you're given a graph, how do you get to the linear equation, and then how can you use that linear equation to estimate a result at a given amount? So there are steps to do that. You need to find the slope, and the equation of the slope is given right here. So you need to pick 2 points on your graph, and you label one of them x1, y1, and the other one x2, y2. Doesn't matter which one's which, just label them, and then you plug them into the slope formula, and you plug your y2 and minus y1 on the top over x2 minus x1. That gives you your slope. Once you have the slope, you're going to use the point slope form. You're going to plug in whatever you said x1 and y1 were, and then you're going to plug in that slope you found, and then you solve for y. Once you've solved for y, that's your equation, and then you can use that equation to find other things. So let's give that a try. So in the notes, number 1, the graph shows the distance. Asteroid 2012 DA14 travels in x seconds. Write an equation of the line and interpret the slope. So we're going to start off by labeling our points. So here's an easy point right here for x1, y1. If we say the point 0, 0 is x1 and y1, and we'll say 524 is x2, y2. Okay, so we need to write the equation and interpret the slope. So let's first find our slope. And I'm going to kind of solve it up here because I don't have a ton of room. I write a little big with this pencil. So it is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So it's 24 over 5, and that simplifies to 4.8. All right, so we have our slope, and it says to interpret it, so we can go ahead and do that now. Okay, slope is rise over run. So this is the miles, because rise is miles. It's miles per second. So if we write this out in a sentence, let's see if I can find some room here. So, the asteroid travels 4.8 miles per second. All right, but let's do the first part. We need to actually finish our equation. So I'm going to switch colors here. We're going to use the slope, and we're going to use x1, y1. And again, I'm kind of moving over here. Sorry about that. So it's y minus y1, which we said was 0, equals the slope times the parentheses x minus x1, and x1 is 0. And then we solve for y. So the equation ends up being y equals 4.8x. So that's everything it asked for in A. It asked for us to interpret the slope and write the equation. B asks for about how long it will take the asteroid to travel 17,200 miles. Okay, so miles is y. Okay, that's where the miles is located over here. So in my equation, I'm going to plug in this for y. So 17,200 equals 4.8x. So to solve for x, I'm going to divide everything by 4.8. Okay, and I end up getting x equals 3,583.3, and you do need to label, and x is labeled in seconds. All right, so that is what B asked for. That's about how long it will take for the asteroid to travel 17,200 miles. All right, sorry. So let's move on to number 2. This graph shows the remaining balance y on a car loan after making X monthly payments. And it lists 2 points here for us. So I'm just going to label them x1, y1, and x2, y2. Okay, so let's first find the slope. So it's y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So I end up with a -3 on the top and a 10 on the bottom. So if we simplify that, it is a -0.3. Not simplify it, but if we write it as a decimal. All right, so we need to interpret that slope. So remember, it's rise over run, so it's negative, means things are going to go down or drop. Okay, so let's interpret the slope. Okay, this means my car loan balance, the balance of it, because that is what, that's what y is. Okay, so the balance is going down because of that slope going down. So it goes down -0.3, but look at this in parentheses over here under the balance. It says that is in thousands of dollars. So I'm going to take that -0.3 and I'm actually going to multiply it by 1,000. So it's actually going to go down. Yes, it's -300, but we're going to, since we already said down, that takes care of the negative. And then the 300 is the amount, and this is per payment. All right, so that's the slope. Now we need to find our equation. So it is y minus y1 equals the slope times x minus x1. So y minus 18 equals a -0.3x. So y is going to equal a -0.3x plus 18. Okay, so there's my equation. That's something you wanted here. Okay, so write an equation. We just did that. Okay, and it wants us to also interpret the y-intercept. So what does this 18 mean? Well, and this is in thousands, remember, because it's a y value. That just means the loan started with it was, okay, let me rephrase this to actually make more sense here. That's what happens when I don't pre-do this. Okay, so you started with an $18,000 loan. Okay, and that's what the y-intercept is. And then it asks in B, what is the remaining balance after 36 payments? Now, payments is x. So I'm going to plug this 36 in for x. So my equation is y equals a -0.3. And instead of x, I'm going to put that 36 plus 18. I'm just going to type all that in my calculator, and I actually get 7.2, and that's y. But remember, y is in thousands. So it actually equals 7,200 or 7,200. All right. So now do 3, 4, 5, 6 in the practice. So again, that's problems 3, 4, 5. Oh, I was writing 6 as the comma. 5 and 6. Get those done in the practice and move on to the next video.